Here we go with more of it. Chapter 24, Book 4. In hoc tractu, ablative with the in. In this tract, a tract is a tract of land, there's a civitas, which is a city or state or a group of people. An ob, because of, muros humiles, because of low walls. Ab acolis Judeans, these are Jewish people, but it's Jewish inhabitants. It is deserter, which means deserted, it's past passive. And manu, by the hand, aratum militum, of angry soldiers, it was conflagrated. So this city that was in this tract of land with the low walls, deserted by the Jewish people, was burned by angry soldiers. Quibus actus, with these things acted out, with these things done, he purgabated. Someone continued. Here we have an imperator. The emperor continued on. Ulterius further on. Placida op, by the placid resources numinous of a god. By placid you might want to say the helpful resources of the god or something. Ut arbitror, as he was thinking. And erector, so he was standing up straight with his chest puffed out, thinking he was doing well. 2. Cumque, and when venisset, when he came to a place with a Z in it, Meos Malacca, which was a urbe magnum, a great city, and they had validus, it's a with would have you when he played, with strong walls, circumdatarum, around it, given around it. There's a great city that had strong walls going around it. And this first place had only humol muros, little walls. Fixus tentoris, with the tents fixed in the ground or pegged out or whatever you do. Solicite means anxiously he provided. He saw to the future. He's thinking in advance. Lest, nay, his camp, repetino, by a sudden, here we have an adcursu, that's in the ablative, by the sudden adcurse, by sudden attack, turburana means they're being disturbed, or there's a squad of Persian horses, so he was anxious lest this camp be attacked by a sudden attack by Persian cavalry, cuis, of whose fortitudo, this is a type of bravery and strength, in the locus patentibus, in the open flatlands, or the open plains. They were known for their bravery, I'm guessing. In mane quantum gentibus formida. So it looks like all the nations, these are gentibuses, these are nations, they dread them, they have a formida, and it can sometimes mean a bit of respect for them as well. Iman fortitudo, quantum, as much as, sort of. Okay, you can just translate that differently in English. So they were well respected in the open plains by all these races who dreaded them. 3. Et hoc disposito, so this thing was settled about guarding his camp from a sudden attack. Stipatus can mean packed, it's a participle or accompanied. By porcus velitibus, these are light skirmishers, velites. So himself, accompanied with some velites or light skirmishers, and quoquiped and some footmen. The civitas situm, so here's the site, by a diligenti inquisition, so he had a diligent inquisition of this side of the city. Exploratus, he was going to explore, and that's that future thing going on. In perniciosas precipitus insidious, so pernicious is full of danger, and insidious traps and ambushes, so he went precipitous into it, like head first he went into this dangerous ambush, and ex ipso vitae discrimine tandem, so at last he emerged from this discrimin, this crisis, which had been a danger to his own life, ex ipso vitae, so there's been a danger to his life, but he managed to, in the long run, get out of it. Okay, 4. Namque. In 4, per latantem, through a secret, is the opposition to it, portem, through a secret gate, opposite of the town, Per se decem amati digressi. So 10 armed Persians digressed. They came out, they digressed. Imaqui, and at the bottom of the lowly parts clivorum, low parts of slopes, here we are, the present participle, they are pervadentes. They're coming forwards, having left the city through this latentem gate, and they are subsidendo, the gerund, on their poplitebuses. So they're coming along, or creeping along on their knees at the bottom of these cliffs, and with a repetino impetu, by sudden attack, they aggressi sunt, they attacked nostros, our men. E quibus, from these, there was 10 of them, duo, that means 2 of them, by the habitu, by the clothing, the principen, that's the emperor, who was conspectiorum, more conspicuous, what do we call it in English? Yeah, he was more visible, or you can make out who he was by his habitu, by his clothes. These 2, with districtus gladus, with the swords drawn, they were pitiae. They were seeking this emperor. Said, but occurret, he met them, taking the dative, he met their ictibuses, their strikes, erectum altius scrutum. So his scutum, his shield, was erectum, lifted up, altius, rather high, comparative, by which, quo, contectus, so he was covered, tectus means covered, con's just a added thing at the front, and magna and elata fiducia, so he had great and elated confidence, or we call it elated confidence, he had high confidence, and he infixed, so he stuck into unius, it's one of the 99 pronominals, it has an I in the dative and genitive, so he stuck ferrum, which is probably his sword, he had a sword in one hand and a shield in the other, into the latero, which is the side. So he infixed it into the side, another dative looking thing, of one of them. And the other, the altar, his stipitors, which we saw were the people who attend him or packed in close to him, they occideranted, plural, they killed this altarum one with multiplicatus ictibuses, with many strikes. Okay, so all over daily dictionary, we've seen this word twice today, stipatus, compressed or packed in, and escorted and accompanied. So I guess they pay these people to accompany them, they're not doing it for their own will. But it also means dense, thick, large, comes from stipo, one of the roots. Where were we? The residual, the remaining people, e quibus, from which aliqui, some were vulnerati, where we get vulnerable, they were wounded. So 2 were killed, some of the others are wounded. Disjectus in flight, so these other people went into flight. Disjected and the spoilatius, so the spoils, that's when you strip off all their gear. And bobus, so 2 of them had their spoils taken off them, and it looks like where he's present participating. So now the emperor, what's his name, Julian or whatever his name is, he's reduking, he's releading his socius, his friends, companymen, in Columns safely, and he removeted, he made his way back with the exuvies, with these spoils, ad castra, to the camp. Suspectus, he was received, or lifted up, with magna laetitia omnium, with the great happiness of all of his people. 5. Sustulit, someone's taking up, in hoste prostratus, so that with an enemy lying prostrate on the ground, here's the guy who's doing it, Torquatus, took up a aureum, a golden monile, this is a necklace, looks neuter, colli from the neck of his prostrate enemy. And then we have a comma, feuded, someone's routed a confidentissimum Gaul, so a very, very confident Gaul, Valerius, here's the other person, he routed, propugnation in a fight, alatus, so there's a bird was helping him. Afterwards, he got the cognomen Corvinus, that's like a raven or some type of bird, that must have been the bird that helped him, so he got that name. And hac gloria, and this glory, posteritatis sunt, that's the future inhabitants that come in your family lines or your people group, commendae, so These glories were commended to posterity, or to the people who are coming after. Non invidimus, we do not envy them. Accidat, let it be added, or this is added, quoque also, monumentus veteris, is dative or ablative plural. Okay, here we go. Facinus, this beautiful deed should also be added, and so it's dative, to old monuments, or to old lists. I don't think there's an actual physical monument. How far are we going today? Part 6. Constratus post ride. So post ride means the next day. Looks like we've got ablatives. Constratus pontibus, so he's constructed, he's built bridges, and he's still in the ablative. Exercitu trivecto, so on these built bridges, the army have trivected, they have gone across, and, is this ablative still? Metatus castris, so he's measured out another castris, other camp, alibi, in another place, which is salubrious, more healthy or advantageous. Here we go. Valo duplici, so with a double vallum or rampart around it, and circumductus means going around it. Quoniam sens, ut, I'm guessing that's as, diximus, as we have said, timabantur, he was fearing solitudes planes. This is, solitudes can be wastelands, etc., but plan means the flat land or the desolate flatlands. He was fearing because of those horsemen. Opidai, of a town, suspected, he took up an obsidian, a besiegement of the city he undertook. Exist a man, so he's thinking, first person nominative. Fore, there to be, that's like an infinitive. Periculsum, danger. See if, process is absolutely or forwards. I think if he's gradients forwards, so if he's continued on forwards, a tergo from his back, he would relinquent, he would leave behind quos timoret, those who he feared. Okay, that makes sense. So he wanted to take up the besiegement of this town, for he thought it'd be dangerous if he kept going on, leaving people behind him that he feared. 7. Hake. These things, dum, while, comparator, while it was being prepared, while a magno molamine, by this like a great works being done. I think I saw Horace use it for some other reasons, but it looks like, well, these were going on and there's preparations. Serena, proper noun, he's a dux in opposition, so he was the leader or general hostium of the enemy. He adortus, so he rose up and attacked the eumenta, which are beasts of burdens, pack animals, which were vescabanting. That means they were feeding, usually takes the ablative. We've got a preposition here in Lucas palmaris, in a palm grove. By cohortibus nostris repulsoris, so they was repelled by our cohorts, with the exito, which is the end or the death, porcorum, of a few of his people, habitus, and he discussed it, he left frustra, in vain or without much success. Nearly done for the day. You can always Google these words. And duarum incolae, so these inhabitants, the incolas, duarum civitans of two cities, quos which, amnes and plexi, the bending river, facion, made insulas, made islands. So there's two cities which the bending river has made islands. Parva sui fiducia, they had small confidence, of their own confidence, and trepidai, they were fearful. So what did they do? They contoleranted themselves, contolerance, ad moeni, this place, Ctesiphontus or something. The genitive splits the accusative. And pars through the denser silvarum. So part of them went through the denseness of the woods, and we have a correlative here to the pars, and others, alai, per paludes vicanas, through the nearby, usually marshes or waterways or something, in that vicinity nearby, they invectide. So they were carried in through these waters. Alveus can mean the channel or a box, so it's probably a boat. Arborum cadaverum, of cavatorum. Okay, so it's carved out trees. So they made little carved out trees, maybe canoe type things, and they've gone through these waterways or marshes. Ad unicum, this is their one auxiliary, or their one hope or chance or unique hope, and potissima itineris. Okay, and so they'd much rather have this long itinerary, this long journey, quod superat. So if they overcome it, dilabuntur ulterior peturi terrarum. So here they go, that's their future. They would seek out, dilated usually it means put off, and we see ulterior, so it's a long distance away, and terrarum's a land. So they would seek a land which is far off, and it would take them a while to get there, it looks like. Okay, that's it.